Welcome to American Gray Matter, the latest and greatest technology in podcasting. You are witnessing cutting-edge opinions. We will bring you what's important, and we will tell you what to think, because we're pretty smart like that, and we know things.
I'm not fat, Dimitri. Quit calling me fat.
I'm not calling you fat. I'm calling you big bone.
I don't think I actually am big boned. I think I'm just fat.
I think I'm overweight myself at this point, so I'm really interested. So you told me that you will have a guest that has a different fad diet.
No, this is the right way to do it.
This is the right way to do it.
No, actually, the way I look at this is one more tool for a person to try on and see if it fits to help them lose weight and to achieve that lifestyle that they would like to have.
My main concern is not about just losing weight. I know how to lose weight. I need to find a system or a lifestyle that will help me to keep the weight off and still be energetic in my 50s and 60s because I have young kids.
And you're getting up there.
And I'm getting up there. Well, you told me not to research anything about her and basically ask her if someone just met her. And so I will just ask her serious questions. And by the end of the interview, I will let her know if she convinced me, then I will tell her that I will try that for 3 months.
Sounds good.
And if she didn't convince me, I tell her no thanks. How's that?
That sounds great. So our guest this week is Jen Stevens, the writer of Delay, Don't Deny, basically a guide to intermittent fasting.
How is it connected to a political...
American Gray Matter. Anything that stimulates your brain,
Anything.
Talk about.
Okay. Well, actually, we decided that with each podcast, we will be talking about health. It's a big issue on so many different levels, and it's a political issue as well.
Tell me one thing. Would you rather your president that you wanted to be elected, or would you rather be the perfect ideal weight?
Oh, I would take weight any day because...
I think 95% of America feels the same way. They'd rather feel good about their little individual life than necessarily who's president.
There will be some that actually...
There would be some,
yeah, but most
be me.
people would say, I want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise.
If I could be 185 pounds, Barack Obama could be president for 8 more years.
No way!
We're not making this political, and I just made the intro political.
It's okay.
Nah, I don't know.
It's not that
But
political.
I told her I wouldn't be political. Now I'm... I love Barack Obama. I love everybody.
Okay, this was just joking. It's really not political. Really, this podcast will be about your health, about how to be in shape. This is spring is around the corner. Then the summer comes. If you want to get in best shape of your life, and if you want to stay in the best shape of your life, this is a podcast for you. Please share it with at least 3 people. And thank you so much for subscribing to our podcast.
And this is American Gray Matter section right now. Hey Jen, would you mind just giving us the background story to how you discovered one meal a day?
Yes, I would be glad to do it. As you said, yes, I have struggled with my weight. Really, even before I was overweight, as a girl, as a woman, as a teenager, we're all interested in, making sure we look our best, and our mothers dieted, so we grow up in a diet culture. And so I would count calories here and there and get the weight off. But as I got older, it got harder, and I tried more and more diets. And at one point, all of a sudden, it's like my body said, forget it, you're just going to be overweight. I had been taking diet pills, which I think messed up my body, and I think a lot of women can relate to that. We really try everything. But all of a sudden, I gained 50 pounds in a year and a half. And like every month I was having to buy new clothes that were bigger. And I hadn't really changed what I was eating, but it's like my body suddenly had reached a breaking point. That was in 2005. And then all of a sudden, I just was on this diet treadmill. I would try low carb. I would try vegan. I would try just everything there was. And everything worked temporarily. I would lose a little weight, and then I would gain more than I had lost, and I would be heavier than I was before. And I fought this battle really for about 10 years, starting in, like I said, 2005. And it was just really hard to live that way. And I was constantly searching for what is the diet that is going to allow me to get back to who I am. I didn't feel like myself. If you are overweight and you don't feel like yourself in your body, you kind of understand what I'm talking about there. You look in the mirror and you don't know who you're looking at. So I came across intermittent fasting around 2009, but I still wasn't quite ready for it. I was still looking for a quick fix, something that I could try, lose the weight, go back to normal eating. And so it wasn't until 2014 that I decided, hey, this is enough. We had been on a cruise as a family, my 2 teenage sons and my husband and me, and looking at those photos from the cruise, I was like, who is that? I realized I was big, but I didn't know I was quite that big. I got home from the cruise, got on the scale, realized I was over 210 pounds, and I'm 5'5", so that was a lot of weight. And I said, I have just got to do something. And that's when I got serious and decided I had to figure this out. It wasn't immediate. I didn't immediately start intermittent fasting and then boom, lost all the weight, and that was it. I did some crazy things along the way. I talk about it all in my book. Appendix A is my whole crazy weight loss story. I tried, the HCG diet, low carb, all of that. And then finally got on to intermittent fasting, realized, this is the sanest way to do it. This is the way it's going to work for me. And then I lost, 75 pounds in 10 months and have slowly continued to lose weight since that time. I'm down over 80 pounds at this point, and I've been in this goal range for about 2 years now. So I think I've finally beaten it.
That's the best part of your story. It was at the end when you say I've kept it off.
Yes.
I'm even still losing a little bit.
Yes, that's absolutely. This is an amazing story. Quick question, because a lot of people sometimes they wonder with health issues. Do you have any medical condition or anything medical that basically influeed your weight gain?
I'm not really sure. I never had any medical tests that came back as a problem. I just was gaining a lot of weight.
So
I had my thyroid. I had my thyroid checked, and it was all within normal limits. Okay. Although I did have low temperature, my body temperature was low, which, from what I understand, indicates your metabolism may not be working up to speed. But all my levels were at normal levels on every test.
Okay, doctors
were like, no, we can't explain why you're gaining weight. You just are.
Yeah, I just want to get out of the way, because sometimes people, they say, oh, maybe, she had some medical condition, then maybe she changed her medication, and that's why things changed. So you were just a regular American woman struggling with weight, like most regular American guys and girls. Over 100 million right now, as much as I know statistics. Is that correct?
Right. That is correct. And I did have all the markers. If you looked at me of, metabolic syndrome, I had a whole lot of abdominal fat, which had not been a problem earlier. Like earlier in my life, teenage years, 20s, even into my 30s, when I gained weight, I gained it in more of a pear shape. But all of a sudden, when I gained the 50 pounds really fast, it started to pack on around my abdomen, which I now know is a sign of insulin resistance and metabolic issues. So yes, I'm pretty sure I was on my way to diabetes and, diabesity as we call it these days. I just had never had any medical diagnoses for that.
So let's take a little moment and talk about one meal a day and its cousins, which is basically you can have an 8-hour window of eating, and that's common. That's the 16-8. And then there's
that is, yep.
the fast 5, which is you just eat 5 hours a day. But you are the elite.
Wait, I can eat for 5 hours and
There's different intermittent fasting.
non-stop. I can eat for 5 hours.
Well, good luck with that. I mean,
When I was on the cruise, I ate for for more than that, I guess.
but the idea is that
okay.
you once you're done with the window, you're done eating. That's it.
So, like, if you have 5
Yeah.
hours, you eat maybe 1 or 2 meals, and then, or how? Please explain.
Now you kind of. I read your book when it first came out. I was one of the first people, by the way.
No, I just want, Gene, the reason I'm asking like that, because we decided that I will have no information, and basically I'm kind of the skeptic in this situation. So you basically need to convince me that it's something that I should try. So I'm honestly have no clue what you're talking about. We already checked you were the normal, healthy individual, but struggle with weight, which is, again, we are talking about more than a third of American population struggling with that. You've tried different diets, so have I. And so right now, basically, I'm here to see if there's what you have is another gimmick, another fad, or if it's a real solution to a healthy lifestyle for the rest of my life.
Well, I'm glad to talk to you about that and convince you of it. Basically, it all boils down to your body can be in one state at a time. You're either in a fed state or you're in a fasted state. And basically, you're in one of those states right this minute and in every moment of your life. And when you wake up in the morning, you're in a fasted state. You've been sleeping all night. Your body is, doing its thing. You haven't eaten. Hopefully you didn't wake up in the middle of the night and have a meal. But, your body is in prime fat-burning mode, ready to start your day. And if you're an intermittent faster like me, you don't start the day with food. You wait, you delay your first meal of the day, and so you're extending the fasted state longer.
Okay,
Every
wait,
person fasts.
Gene, let me interrupt you right there. You're blowing up my mind right there. In Russia, they told me eat like an emperor in the morning, eat a lunch like a merchant, and then eat dinner like a poor guy. So. And as a bodybuilder also, I was always told in all the books that because I was in fasted state for 8 hours, I need to replenish my protein. So I need to eat something as soon as I wake up. So again, you're blowing my mind up, or is there a different way for a athlete to fast to do that, or it's still the same thing for the athlete as well?
Well, it's actually, we found we don't need to start cramming food in first thing in the morning like we've been led to believe recently. But, this is a new thing, the whole eat breakfast. You must eat the minute you get up. I tried a diet called the Big Breakfast Diet. That was one along the way. And, I swear, I think you were supposed to, put your feet on the floor and immediately race to the kitchen and start eating breakfast. And then, same thing like you said, big breakfast, little lunch, tiny dinner. That didn't work for me. I was starving all the time. Basically, there's something that goes on when you're in the fasted state called autophagy, and it's a natural process your body does. In fact, the Nobel Prize in Medicine for 2016 was related to research on autophagy, but it's really your body's recycling system. You're not eating, your body can go in and break down funky old cells and cell matter. And actually, there's a whole lot of protein that can be recycled in your body during the day. We don't need quite as much protein unless you are bodybuilding. The normal person doesn't need to be eating protein constantly. You've got a lot of it going on in your body already.
I agree with that.
The reusing.
I agree with that. I know that, especially for women, there's even less protein. But as a bodybuilder, is there a way for me to use this diet as a bodybuilder, or because I'm a bodybuilder, there's no way I can use that?
There's a vegan
you
bodybuilder
absolutely can.
on YouTube.
The bodybuilding community has really taken off with intermittent fasting. One of the first books I ever read on intermittent fasting was written by a bodybuilder named Brad Pilon. Pilon is how you spell it. He's got a website, I believe. But he does intermittent fasting, and he works out in the fasted state all the time. I mean, when you're eating after your workout, yes, make sure to get plenty of protein in your meals, but you don't have to supplement with extra protein or worry about it during the fasting time.
You know, as a bigger guy, I have skinny friends, as a lot of us do. And one of my fascinations has always been to ask them, like, how do you eat? And I'm not talking about someone that dieted to get to where they're at, but you know Steven.
You don't have to tell me about Steven. My father-in-law has a six-pack and he's almost 70. And so he eats only twice a day. One time he eats salad, and then late at night he eats some fish, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have a friend who in college, all he would do is I'd see him eat like half a pizza and I'd eat the other half, and he was skinny and I was big, and I was like, how come every time we eat together, he eats all this food and I'm the fat one and he's not? And so I asked him some questions and I started noticing it. I started paying attention. The fact is, a lot of those times that was the only meal he'd eat the whole day, where I'd be eating food like every 4 hours. So it's just really interesting to see that.
I wish I could tell you how many times I've heard that exact story from people. A lot of women will tell that story. They'll tell of, in high school or college, or, my very best friend from college went to law school and said that the only time they would eat would be dinner at the end of the day because they were busy or whatever, and they were in the best shape of their lives. And then they started hearing, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You've got to spike your metabolism. So they started changing their natural eating habits and suddenly started packing on the pounds. And so when people read about intermittent fasting and the 1 meal a day plan that I do, they're like, hey, that's how I naturally ate before I was allowed to change my mind with conventional wisdom of must eat constantly. And then suddenly they had a weight problem. Also, you're familiar with Herschel Walker, the football player?
Yeah.
Of course, I live in Georgia, so he's pretty popular around here, but
He eats 1 meal a day.
only
really?
eats 1 meal a day.
He's a football player?
Yeah.
Professional?
Also, Ronda Rousey is doing it now.
Yep.
Who's that?
Have you seen how skinny she is?
Who's Ronda Rousey?
The chick that was on the MMA? MMA, yeah.
She's a fighter?
Yeah, if you see pictures of her recently, she totally got really skinny, and people are like, what are you doing? And basically all she does is eats 1 meal a day, and I think she drinks coffee.
I'm okay with coffee once in a while.
Yeah.
So back to what you said. I mean, like you said, conventional wisdom, at least for the last 20 years, was eat 6 small meals per day. And they drum you that anytime you go to a gym, you weigh yourself, and the personal trainer say, okay, now you need to change your diet. You need to start eating 6 small meals per day. And what about that?
Well, as I talked about before, you're either in a fed state or a fasted state at all times. And the key is insulin. When you're in a fed state, you're eating, your body is releasing insulin. And if you read anything about insulin, it's the fat storage hormone. So the more frequently you're spiking your insulin with all these frequent meals, your body is releasing insulin, and so you never are able to get into your own fat stores and dip into those. So it's like the perfect storm of weight gain over time. The more frequently you're eating all the time, the more insulin is going to be circulating through your body. That's when you start to develop insulin resistance. I mean, honestly, I think one of my main problems was coffee drinks. When I was gaining weight, I had started drinking these little coffee drinks. I had a coffee maker that made a latte, and it was only 70 calories. But I was constantly spiking my insulin all day long. And then the weight just went crazy. So the frequent small meals, might work for a short time till you develop insulin resistance.
I went to the gym and I got a personal trainer, and that's the first thing that cat did was try to get me on a 7-day eating or 7.
Yeah, I told you that's the first thing comes out of your mouth.
I lasted 3 days. I couldn't take it.
I understand. I'm actually a bodybuilder as well, and again, when I was getting ready for the show, everybody said this again, 6-7 meals a day, and it didn't work for me. I actually eventually end up with just eating 3 meals per day. But because I just six, I felt like I'm like a cow. I'm always chewing on something. And I told
Why
myself,
not eat 8 meals a day, right? Or
yeah,
9 meals a day?
they told me 8, but I barely could eat 6 because I'm like, okay, I don't have 7 stomachs like a cow. Why do I have to always munch on something?
Well, you notice in
Exactly.
nature, the fat animals are the grazers, and
That is true.
and the thin beasts are like the ones that eat like find a prey, chow it down.
Like once a
And-
week,
Yeah,
actually.
like once a week.
Actually, lions eat like once every 3-4 days, right?
They eat a giant meal and then they go to sleep.
I don't
Yeah.
mind that. So okay, so here is again. I have no clue what you're talking about. It. Could you explain to me painting by numbers? How do I do that? What should I do? And do I have to count calories? Do I have to count? What do I have to do?
All right, well, no, please don't count calories because if you study food at all, you'll know your body doesn't treat all foods the same. So, you could count calories and eat 1,000 calories of jelly beans, and that's going to be really different than if you ate 1,000 calories of nutritious food. So, no, I don't encourage calorie counting. Instead, think about what I said about being in the fasted state. You want to arrange your day so that you're in a fasted state for anywhere from 19 to 23 hours a day. That's what I shoot for. So I'm eating in what I call my eating window anywhere from 1 to 5 hours, depending on the day. That'll cut down the amount of time that your body is releasing insulin. And so you just eat to satisfaction. You don't want to gorge yourself or binge or anything like that. That's certainly not going to work. But you want to eat enough so that you're satisfied and you feel good with your meal during that eating window. I started off with a 5-hour window when I first got into the intermittent fasting. The Fast 5 plan is what I used. And the guidelines were simple. Pick any 5-hour part of the day and eat all of your food within that 5 hours. Well, I was like, all right, I can do that. Well, I can fit a lot of food in 5 hours. So I was pretty much eating 2 full meals and snacking throughout 5 hours, which is not what you're really trying to do. You can eat too much during an eating window, and that's going to be counterproductive. But over time, I realized that I felt better when I waited until later in the day. So most days I'll start eating. I'll have a little snack while I'm preparing dinner, or I'll taste the food, and then I eat dinner. Then later I can have dessert if I would like, and then I go to bed happy at the end of the day. And it's mind-blowing that I continue to lose weight. I'm eating dessert. I'm having a glass of wine. I eat whatever I want. I don't track a thing except time. I just only eat at that part of the day, and it just takes care of itself. Also, you might worry that you're going to be hungry during the day. Is that something that crossed your mind?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Okay, I'll be whole day. My stomach, when I don't eat at least 4 or 5 hours, my stomach starts grumbling. I have some kind of weird feelings inside, and I always think, like they say, your stomach is grumbling, time to eat something.
Exactly. And I think that's the part. If you'd told me, when I first started, that I would be eating 1 meal a day and I would feel better than I'd ever felt in my life, and I was doing this forever, I would think that you were crazy, and I wouldn't have believed you. But I have realized over the time since I started with this in 2014 and now it's 2017, I've realized that I'm actually less hungry during the day now than if I eat frequently. I went on a vacation this summer and I did not fast. I ate a more typical vacation pattern, and I found that during the day I had more thoughts about food. I was actually hungrier because I was eating more often. On a normal day, like today, for example, it's about 3:30 Eastern Standard Time where I am. I haven't eaten. I've had black coffee. I've had some San Pellegrino mineral water. I'll eat in a few hours. And, yeah, my stomach will gurgle here and there, but that's normal. And it's actually less pressing hunger, like, oh, my gosh, I have to eat right now, than on a typical day from the past. But it's because my body is used to this, and I'm in the fasted state, and my body knows how to run on stored body fat and ketones, and so I'm not looking for that quick source of energy. My body knows what to do. Kind of like that lion, he's not, starving to death. He's used to eating once a day, and he's fine. It's amazing.
You just mentioned
how much better.
You just mentioned ketones, and how I got actually in the best shape of my life. I was doing basically I would go very low calorie, and that's of course that means I only have like 1 or 2 meals a day for 2-3 days, and then I will have what I called carb up day. So basically I will have 2-3 meals where I get as much sweet potatoes that I can eat, and then again I go 2-3 days with a lower amount of calories, which again will end up in 1 to 2 meals per day, and that's when I got a sub 4% body fat.
Yeah, your body has all sorts of sources of energy that it can use to fuel you, and unfortunately, we're just in our modern day society, we're just running on blood glucose all the time, because everybody's eating 14 meals a day, and so you eat. As soon as that insulin gets that blood glucose out of your system, your body's like, feed me again. So you're constantly hungry. But when you're in the fasted state and your body is used to it, that goes away. Your body knows what to do, and it burns the fat. It uses ketone bodies that your body naturally makes to fuel your brain, and so you're not getting that constant signal, time to eat again. Now, if I were to go have like a cookie right now, I would suddenly be ravenous because my body would release the insulin, my blood glucose would drop, and then I'd be out of fat burning.
Okay, I see that.
Very important.
So the question is then, in that 5-hour window, what's the ratio of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates?
Oh, I don't even count any of that. I don't know. I mean, it's different every day, I'm sure. I just eat food that is going to make me happy and make me feel good. Now, obviously, I'm not going to feel good if I eat a big old pile of Doritos and chips and dip and a hot dog, washed down with a Coke. That's not going to make me feel good. I try to eat real food. Last night, I had this Korean noodle bowl. It had like pork, and it had rice noodles, and it had green beans and peppers. So it's real food that I'm eating. But I don't know what the macronutrient ratios are, and I don't worry about that. I just make sure I'm eating real food that makes my body feel good.
Okay, one of the things also when I was on a diet, once in a while I would have those binge nights where I couldn't stop eating. Does that something that you know about it, and how does your diet deal with that? Because those things were actually the most embarrassing for me, because I think I'm pretty strong-willed guy, but there would be those days where I would just start eating and I couldn't stop eating for like 2 hours, and there's nothing.
Go ahead. Would you say that those had followed periods of severe calorie restriction?
Of course. Like I said, I was on a diet.
Right. See, and that's the way your body works. When you severely limit calories on a typical diet where you're eating frequently during the day, think about The Biggest Loser, for example. The Biggest Loser competition that's on American TV, when they're eating very low calorie, working out really, really hard. Your body is not in the fasted state. You're having a low calorie diet. Your body recognizes, hey, this is not good. We're starving. And then as a result, it slows your metabolism and also ramps up your hunger hormones.
Correct.
That's when the binge follows. But with fasting, it's completely different. What happens during the day when you're burning your own fat, your body senses, hey, we got plenty of stored energy. And so your metabolism doesn't slow down. It doesn't crash. It actually, they found through research that this type of intermittent fasting speeds your metabolism slightly, so that you have the advantage while you're fasting. Your metabolism doesn't slow. There's plenty of energy from your own stored fat, and you do not have that need to binge. Now, some days I'm hungrier than other days, but it's not like binging. Like, I'll just have a bigger meal that day, and then maybe the next day I won't be as hungry.
So how is it?
Like people are.
So you were talking about the hunger hormone. We're talking about leptin, right?
Right.
Yeah, because that's for me. Yeah, that's what I noticed. What I figured out, that my leptin would be just out of control in those days. So, and that's like
leptin is the one that tells you you've had enough. Ghrelin is the one that tells you you need to eat.
Okay. So it's a balance between those two. Okay, got it. I apologize.
Right.
So
okay.
how is it with intermittent fasting? How does it influence those hormones? Could you explain?
Well, I can. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm going to tell you what I have read and what I have learned. Basically, you have hormones, just like all animals do, that tell you, hey, it's time to eat, or hey, you've had enough. And we've lost touch of that with those. Just like you can have insulin resistance, they're talking about leptin resistance. Leptin is the hormone that tells you, hey, there's plenty of stored fat on your body. And in theory, if you were overweight, you would never feel the urge to eat. But just like with insulin resistance, we're leptin resistant, so we don't hear those signals anymore.
Okay.
And so we overeat. But intermittent fasting regulates your insulin. Also, it allows you to get your leptin and your ghrelin back into balance. So eventually, you'll get the right kind of cues from your body. Hey, you've had enough, or hey, you need to eat a little more.
Let's take a moment to talk about the adjustment period, because I've been through that, and I'm not currently doing one meal a day, although I plan on doing it again. And I just had some difficulties, and a lot of people, this is kind of widely known, is the first 5 to 7 days can be kind of hard to get used to. What's your advice to people switching to one meal a day?
Well, it really is hard at the adjustment period, because you think, what am I doing to myself? And you worry that you're going to feel like that forever. I mean, obviously, if you felt like that forever, you wouldn't be able to do it. As I've said, your body is used to running on glucose, and you're getting that through your 10 meals a day or whatever it is that you're eating. And so your body starts to scream at you, send down some more glucose, have a latte, have a cookie, because your body is used to using that quick source of energy that you've been giving it. So to teach your body, no, time to burn the fat, it takes some time. You may have headaches. You may get a little shaky feeling. You have to push through that. Eventually, you'll come out on the other side, and your body will start burning your fat, and you'll have increased energy. You'll feel great. It's really just the best feeling of all, because hey, here I am, I'm burning fat. And you can, if you've ever had ketosis, the feeling of ketosis when you're burning fat, you can kind of taste it. It's got a little metallic taste in your mouth. You have a lot of energy, and you just feel like this sense of well-being.
Yeah.
But once you get through that adjustment period, it's fabulous. But some people quit before they get there, because they're like, oh my God, I can't live with these headaches, or I'm so tired.
Well, even if a person didn't do, sorry, I keep jumping on you. Even if a person, sorry, this time I'll follow through. Even if a person didn't necessarily follow the one meal a day, they might learn something by the fact that maybe you shouldn't snack all the time, or maybe you should eat less meals, or have 2 meals a day. So I was trying to get back into it. I got to taste it. Like, I got to taste like how good it could be. But at the same time, what my problem was, once again, the initial 4 or 5 days, where I started to, when you eat, you get like the serotonin response. It's like satisfying. It's like a drug. Oh, yeah. It's not really hunger that did me in. It was like the need to do something, the need to entertain myself, or
boredom.
And I imagine that once you get past like a week or so, your body probably adjusts its chemicals to not have that same issue. Is that something you would agree with?
I absolutely would. And I have gotten to the point where I feel worse if I choose to eat earlier in the day. I still do that sometimes, Christmas Day or on a vacation or a special occasion. I'll eat early in the day. But I get so tired. You realize how lethargic food makes you feel after you eat. If you've ever think about Thanksgiving, you eat a big meal, then you're also tired from the big food load. That's how I feel if I were to eat in the middle of the day now. And it's just really not worth it. I prefer the mental alertness that I have every single day, the amount of energy that I have. I don't have the afternoon slump. I'm not looking for that caffeine fix in the middle of the afternoon like I used to. I don't need it. In fact, if I drink caffeine in the middle of the afternoon, it keeps me awake at night now. So I caffeine up all morning and then mineral water all afternoon. I don't need anything to keep me going.
In your book, I noticed you listed a few different ways to transition onto one meal a day. After doing this for a while and dealing with, you have like 6,000 members on your, how many members do you have on your groups?
Well, if you put them together, and it's the same people are in some of the same ones in both groups. I have a 1 meal a day group that is over 5,000, probably 5,300, something like that. And the Delay Don't Deny Facebook group that is named after my book, that one is somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 members at this point. They're growing so fast. I think intermittent fasting is about to really take off because more people are trying it and they realize this is a sane way to live. We're all tired of diets. We want to find a way to control it without having to constantly be thinking about what should I eat, what do I need to eat. I don't worry about that anymore, and it's great. But yes, when you're trying to transition, you do not want to start off with just, okay, today I'm eating 7 meals, tomorrow I'm just going to eat 1. You can do certain things to make it easier for the transition time, and you can gradually, first start by skipping breakfast, and then gradually start delaying your lunch, and then when that starts to feel natural, delay it even more. And that can certainly help. You don't have to do it all just one day. Here I am doing it.
So you're not recommending cold turkey, like basically go without any meals for 3-4 days, go into ketosis, and then start this plan? Is that, you don't think it's a bad idea?
Well, no, I don't think that's a bad idea either. You could certainly do that. Now, that's going to certainly take some commitment, but you could do it.
If you can fast for 3 days.
You don't have to go to work.
Yeah. I've only been able to fast for 3 days one time, and that was when I had to support people who were counting on me to do it because they were doing it too. So I've tried to do that on my own and never been able to. So
no,
that's a whole different thing. You could do it.
Actually, interesting thing you mentioned about the alertness, because I have fasted for about a week one time and I want to check if I can do physical labor. And of course, first 3 days I was very lethargic. I was tired, like you said, headaches. But on the 4th, 5th day, I was doing great. In fact, on the 6th day, there was a lot of snow. So I was outside shoveling snow like a madman. And I remember thinking, I still remember that day. It's so clear in my mind because I was feeling amazing. And I shoveled the entire driveway. I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel fatigued. It was something of a special feeling, but I only thought it only happens when you fast for more than 5 to 6 days. Are you saying that the way you are feeling right now, it's similar to how I felt and you feel it every day like that?
Yes, and that is a fabulous story, and I'm glad that you told it because that's exactly how I feel every day. Because my body has adjusted to burning fat or burning ketones. I feel like that every single day until I eat my first meal. As soon as I eat my first meal, I'm tired. But every morning I wake up in that state of energy, and it lasts all day long. So your extended fasting story is exactly, what happened. The first few days of your extended fast, your body was looking for glucose, and you weren't giving it any. Then by the time you got to day 4, your body said, okay, I'm going to burn some fat, and then boom, there was the energy. So that's exactly what happens with intermittent fasting on a daily basis.
I actually, if I could feel like that, because like I said, that memory stuck with me. That happened about a decade ago. And I didn't want to go back to that kind of fasting because like, okay, I need food. But if that's the way I could feel, that would be great. Now, I'm sure someone told you, look, sounds great, but it's another fad and it's going to go away in 2-3 months or 2-3 years. Somebody will disapprove everything you said and we're back on 8 meals per day. What would you say to that?
Well, whatever anybody says, I'm still going to eat this way because of the way I feel. The more and more science is lining up with this to support this way of life, the more discoveries they're making, like I said, with the 2016 Nobel Prize in Medicine with autophagy, and just the fact that this is a very healthy way of living. I think we've discovered the fountain of youth here. It's anti-tumor, anti-cancer, and it's free. I mean, it's anti-inflammatory. I no longer take allergy medicine, for example. My body level of inflammation is down so far that I no longer have the seasonal allergies that
Wait. Please explain that because I had severe allergies last couple of years, and the spring is around the corner, and I actually start having basically nightmares about that again because I couldn't breathe and I couldn't go anywhere. Please tell me, what are you talking about?
Well, the fasted state and the process that I talked about called autophagy that we're just starting to really understand more and more about, it's anti-inflammatory. And allergies are basically a symptom of an inflammatory state in your body. So if you have a lot of allergies, then you probably have a lot of inflammation throughout your system. So by fasting, I've lowered my inflammation to the point that last year, I live in Augusta, Georgia, home of the Masters, and it is home of pollen. So every year in about March and April, the pollen, we have like people on the street with blowers, blowing drifts of pollen.
Mm-hmm.
To the side. It's like a yellow haze all over the whole city. And last year, I made it through the entire pollen season without taking a single allergy medication the whole time, which was a miracle. Because I was like the person who had to like stuff Kleenex up the nose like a stopper, and it was terrible. And so now I don't have that problem anymore, and it feels like a miracle for someone who used to suffer like I did.
But it's going to kick in right away, or do I have to follow the diet for several years for it to take place? Because
I don't know. I think it depends probably for everybody. I can't like promise you that immediately you won't have allergies. I had allergies in 2014 and 2015, and it wasn't until 2016 that I really noticed I didn't. So I think it takes a while to correct years of damage in your body.
Yeah, I noticed a few days doing it that like my joint pain, like I just have just mild joint kind of like displeasure sometimes when I walk. And I noticed that kind of went away a little bit too. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to give it another go again, because it's like I got to taste like the good part of it. And if I could ever get to the point where you are, where you just feel good all day long, have a clear mind, that would be great.
It really is amazing. And also I find that when I stick to it, I don't get sick. I do have a little scratchy voice right now because the flu has been going around I'm a teacher. The flu has been going around like crazy. People in my hall are sick. They've been sick for days. Everybody's got the flu diagnosis. I think I pretty much just fought the flu off. I had like a minor runny nose for like a day and a tiny little 99 fever, a little postnasal drip, and then boom, I was better. You don't get sick. And so that's just the best thing of all. I'm fighting off, whatever other people are throwing at me.
Yeah. Well, we're getting towards the end of our interview here. I just want to ask you, what does it feel like to write a book and then just have like such a huge response from it? Have you ever written a book before?
No. It's crazy, actually. It's the weirdest thing of all. As I said, I'm a teacher, so been teaching people things, my whole life. Even when I was a kid, I would play school and teach people things. But I think it's a natural extension of that. The book is me teaching you about how to live an intermittent fasting lifestyle. So it's got science in it. It's got, some memoir in there too of my story. But it's really me explaining it to you so that you will know what to do and why you want to do it. Really, I did it backwards. I started the Facebook group first, and that was really where I got used to writing about fasting. People would ask questions, I would answer them. We started with 30 members, back when we first started the group. And it's just grown over the past, really, year and a half. I didn't start the group till 2015. So I guess I practiced writing the book before I wrote it because I was always answering people's questions about intermittent fasting. And it would lead me to research, and I would have to answer their question. I'd have to look and see, why is this the way it is? So it all came together in the book. But I'll say it's the weirdest thing of all, knowing that people on 6 continents are reading my story and my words, hearing what I have to say about it, and finding value in it. I now understand why so many writers turn to life of like drugs and alcohol, because you're very vulnerable putting yourself out there. And I'm like, what if this is total crap? This book is terrible. What if it's horrific? You just don't know. So I'm glad there's been a positive response to it, and that I really feel like I was meant to do it. I don't know. It sounds corny, but it's like everything in my life has led me to this point. And it's like my purpose in life right now is to help people figure this out. And I hope that I can help others the way that this has helped me. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about health, because in America there's things that we worry about: terrorism, taxes. I mean, you name it, anything is a huge issue. But really, if you boil it down to what affects you directly in your life,
You forgot Donald Trump. Now,
Donald Trump.
because we have to talk about Donald Trump every podcast.
But this is gonna be an apolitical show. I told you.
No, I knew I'm gonna just interject it one time, but everyone worries about him. So
Everyone worries about everything, but
Yes.
the one thing that is the biggest issue that affects everybody is health.
yes.
And everybody's just getting fat.
Well,
And
the whole debate
I'm
about
so
healthcare.
passionate about this.
The whole debate about healthcare is the same thing, because it's people understand that they are vulnerable in that area more than any other areas. I absolutely is in. So when you have a way to show people how to live a healthy, productive, energetic life, it quality of
Exactly.
life is a big deal. Like for me, I always think about it. Really, it's someone said that life is not how many breaths you take, but how many moments will take your breath away. But to be able to be strong and healthy and be able to experience that breathtaking moment, that's the situation. I have 3 little kids right now. I'm in my 40s, early 40s, and I start really thinking, okay, in about 10 years they'll be running really, really fast. I have to be able to catch them up, and I will be in my 50s. And that's why when Nathan told me that we're going to have you here, I got really excited. Gene, after this conversation, I am convinced that I will definitely try it. By the way, we're talking about putting yourself out there. This podcast, your second guest. We just had our first guest just about an hour ago. Your second guest on our podcast. We just started just basically 2 weeks ago, and we just decided, screw it, just do it, and we're just putting ourselves out there. So thank you so much for your encouragement. And what we'll do, because we decided we're going to talk about health and food and things like that on our podcast. So we'll be bringing our stories for the next. Let's take the next 3 months and see how it goes. What do you think, Nathan?
Sure, yeah. What were you specific stories of people?
Yeah, no, not stories of people, but every week as we do podcasts, we'll just talk for a few minutes how our intermittent fasting goes, if we have any struggles and any difficulties. And do you mind, Gene, to be back with us in about 3 months to kind of catch up with us and either celebrate or to scream at us?
I would absolutely love to come back and see how you're doing. Absolutely.
Well, that's a deal then.
Sounds good.
All right. I look forward to it. Thank you for having me on. As I said, it feels very odd to have written a book that people are reading, that people like, but I do think this is the answer that so many people have been looking for. And the name of my book is Delay, Don't Deny. And it's available on Amazon or really anywhere you buy any ebooks, iBooks, Nook, any of those platforms, you can find it there.
And you can also
I would
get
love
the
to
hard
have-
copy too.
On
I'm
Amazon.
sorry, I
Yeah.
missed that what?
Yeah, you can also get the hard copy too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can get a paperback version through Amazon or through Barnes & Noble, but then the ebook, any platform you like for your ebook, you can find it there as well.
Do you have some kind of special promotion that you want to offer to our listeners? So
Nope. I don't really have any special promotion. I don't really even know how to do a special promotion. I'm a self-publisher or a self-published author, but you can find the book on Amazon and the other outlets that I said.
okay, is there any other places where people can find you? Do you use social media, or how do you want them to get in touch with you if they want to find your work?
Okay. I have a website that is brand new. It's only been up for a couple of weeks, and it's jenstevens.com. And let me spell that for you. It's Gin, like gin and tonic, kind of gin. Stevens is spelled Stephenes. So jenstevens.com. And you can contact me through that. There's a few testimonials on the website. People have shared their before and after photos. I've got also more of those in the book. And also the blog that I started on the website too. So check it out.
Thank you so much, Jean. Really appreciate you, and we're looking forward to have you back to check with us, either to celebrate or to scream at us and tell us what we did wrong. This is really exciting. Summer is coming soon, and I want to be back in.
He wants a fitness bikini.
Absolutely. Well, you can put your photo on the website once you get into that bikini.
Wait,
my
what
word.
kind of bikini? What are you talking about? I do have my Speedos from my competition days, though.
Oh gosh, it just got real.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, that's the last question, actually. Is it possible to get a six-pack on this diet, or do I have to still do something else to get my six-pack back?
Oh, yeah, you can get a six-pack on this diet because you really, from what I've read, the six-pack is hiding under everybody's layer of fat, right?
Yes.
So once you burn off that fat, there's your six-pack. Boom.
Okay, so that's what let's see what's going to happen with that. We are really excited to have you here. As like I said, you are just our second guest, and you've been so candid and so transparent to tell us really how it happened. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you, and I've enjoyed it.
All right, see you, Jen. I'll see you on the forum.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Well, Nathan, Jim convinced me to try this because I guess the main thing of what she said that really convinced me is, number one is the energy. I noticed that lately, right between 2 to 4 o'clock, I'm completely down. I'm so lethargic. I just want to take a nap, and often I do, and I just don't feel great before that or after that. Number two is allergy, and even though she explained it's not going to happen right away, but if I can reduce inflammation, because I do have it, I actually did the physical recently, and all the markers are fine except my bad LDL, whatever it's called. So, and he told me it's because you have inflammation somewhere. I have some problems with my back that I'm going to physical therapy, but I think it will also help. And number three actually also is I can still eat my dinner. So I'm actually okay skipping breakfast and lunch and dinner. It will be heretical for me, as we talked about it, because not eating breakfast, but I think I'll give it a try. So we'll try it for 90 days. We are on 26th of February, end of February, scratch that.
All right, and we'll weigh
So
tomorrow.
March, April, May.
See, I want to do it just because I look at you and I think I admire you. I'd like to someday become as old as you. So I need to make some changes to to achieve your old age.
I'm not a sage, just in my early 40s.
Still, I mean, at 350 pounds, a person might look at me and wonder, is he going to be 40?
Okay. Now, actually, we have something, and I will put you on the spot. Are you coming with me to Vietnam? Because this is right around that time when we can go to Vietnam in really good shape.
That's 3 months from now?
Yep, that's exactly 3 months from now.
What date is it?
It's April 26th.
Isn't April's number 4, right?
Yep.
That's 2 months.
2 months. Yeah. Well, 2 months.
Sneaky man, trying to make it relevant.
Well, we can. Yeah.
I told you I'd let you know by the end of the month, Dimitri.
So in 2 months we'll see the difference, right?
Yeah.
So what do you say?
Sure, why not? I'll go with you to Vietnam.
Okay, guys. Nathan and I were going to Vietnam in 2 months, and so you definitely need to tell 3 of your friends to subscribe, because we're gonna bring you better. I don't want to say bigger, right? Better, smaller. How do you say it?
Bring better podcasts?
Yes.
We already have an awesome podcast today with Jen Stevens, so I don't know how we're going to top that.
Oh, we're gonna top that.
No.
We need to. We can
can top it
grow.
with her interview 3 months from today.
That's right. When we're back from Vietnam, we're gonna have her back on the podcast, and we will tell her how we're doing.
All right.
I'm excited about
So
that.
when I'm in Vietnam, I'll only eat 1 dog a day and 1 meal. All right, guys. It's been fun. It's been a good time.
This is American Gray Matter, the greatest podcast on iTunes.
Like, if Donald Trump made a podcast, ours would just be slightly better than his. That's how great it would be.
Well, if we could have him on our podcast as an interview,
Then if he did that, then I'd just say he could be whatever he wanted to be. Whatever makes him feel good.
yeah. But anyways, guys, we want to touch base with you today. Actually, even though this podcast is later, while we're recording, Bill Paxton just passed away because of surgery complications. One of my favorite actors, actually, in Twister. This is like his performance in Twister was top notch. Do you have any favorite movies with Bill?
You have to refresh my memory. I remember his face. I know, I'm very familiar with him, but I haven't seen any movies lately with him in it. So.
Arnold, remember when he came? Arnold did the Terminator. When he shows up, Bill Paxton is one of those kids that messing around with him. Remember?
I didn't know that.
He took his clothes after he killed him, and then he got killed in Alien as well. Remember, he was a space marine. His latest movie was Die Repeat, right? What's the name of that?
The one with Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, Live, Die, Repeat with Cruise.
I like that movie.
Yeah, he was he was the sergeant, remember?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So this is our prayers and condolences for the family of Bill Paxton. Only 61 years old, and he's gone. This kind of sad.
I'd like to live past 61.
Yeah, I'd like to live past 61.
I'd like to live to be I want to be 85 and that, with a mind of a whip.
Oh,
Basically smarter than I am now.
That's what
I
amazing.
want.
Yeah.
And in good shape. I go to the gym and everyone thinks I'm 55. I want to be that guy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. That you're talking about my father-in-law. So he's really in great shape. So I'll ask her. And he eats, actually, that's why you got me interested. He only eats 1 to 2 meals a day. He eats a salad for lunch, and he eats fish for dinner, and he goes to sleep. So that's this is it. And this is it.
All right, we'll start tomorrow on our diets. Or I don't know if I'm going to do it cold turkey. I'm going to figure that out tomorrow.
Me too. I know that cold turkey is easier because you can go into ketosis faster, and I know how to enter in that. So I'm contemplating on just doing my 3-4 days of just vegetables. And
if I have support with you, and if we do 1 meal a day, basically it's a 2-hour window. The 5-hour thing, I don't know. However you want to do it.
I don't need. When I looked at this, I understand what I could do. Like I said, I can basically fast all day. As long as I have dinner with my family, that's important for me.
I think I could do it with your support. I did it before on my own. It was kind of sketchy.
I'm not gonna invite you to dinner every night.
No, I mean, yeah, but you could do that too. But no, I mean, do the 1 meal a day program and check in on each other starting tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
that's
it.
good.
All right, we'll see you next week. Adios. American Gray Matter. Bye.